Hey everyone, I know it's been a long time since I've made a video, so I do apologize about that. Good news is I'm going to start making a lot more from right now on, and I'm serious about that this time. Just had a lot of personal issues going on recently. Our family dog passed away about a month ago, and that's kind of like what started me not really feeling like making videos, and then just health issues and stuff, and just physical health and mental health and all that and dealing with that. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's gotten a little bit better, but I think doing these is going to be helpful in the process. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to starting making videos again. So, today, what I wanted to talk about is kind of what my plans are for this channel as far as what I'm going to be talking about with videos. Um, Part of it's going to follow my personal journey, and I mean that in a sense that I hope it's helpful to other people. It's not going to be just like talking about me and all about me or anything like that. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't feel like a lot of other people were going through like the same issues and confusions and like troubles that I'm going through and stuff. So it's just a way for me to document it for myself and to see what progress I make, if any, and a way for everyone else to have discussions, because it's a lot about like OCD and anxiety, and I'm sure a lot of other people go through that too. So yeah, I'll be talking about that and a bunch of other topics. But today I wanted to talk about the subject I wanted to talk about is reality versus fantasy or imagination, I guess, because I feel like that's very applicable to the booktube community and to people who read. And I guess kind of just our generation in and of itself. I know a lot of people throughout history have gone through that anyway, distinguishing what they feel is real between what they imagine to be real. But I feel like it's just kind of ramped up over time to the point where today a lot of people really seek escapism. So I wanted to talk about reality versus imagination, I guess, today. So it's a very interesting topic to me because I'm a very creative person, and I've always enjoyed writing and making music and watching movies and kind of escaping into those imaginary realms. It's playing video games has probably been the biggest one for me, and I know it is for a lot of people. Because in that virtual world, you don't have that sense of doubt. When you're playing a game, that reward is like right there. When you do something, when you finish a quest, when you kill a monster, you get that experience, you get that instant gratification right there. Whereas, in real life, it takes time to really build skills and to build relationships with people. And when you have a lot of negative experiences and when you have a lot of doubt when it comes to that, it makes it a lot riskier each time you embark on a new, path to do something, or when you take on a new relationship with someone, there's a lot more doubt because it takes time to build on that. So I think nowadays, just with technology and just with how many avenues we have towards, that instant gratification, it's kind of taken away from the reality of how you really build that stuff in your life. It takes time and it takes trust and it takes, a lot of vulnerability from yourself, especially with relationships. Relationships, I feel like people, I mean, they learn it over time, but at first you don't realize it takes a lot of compromise and it takes a lot of listening. Obviously, being with someone who you find attractive and who you have a lot in common with is great, and I think those are good things. But if you're not really listening or paying attention to who that other person is and what they really want, a lot of times it tends to end badly. I mean, you can definitely compromise over time and you can be willing to sacrifice, but if you go into something listening to what that person wants and who they really are, and you're willing to be honest about who you are as well, that really does both of you a good sense in the end. So when I'm talking about the distinction between reality and fantasy, especially with books and with the booktube community and stuff, I mean that in the sense of books are great because they talk about large scale problems and journeys that people undergo, um, and it cuts out a lot of the time and the small details on how to get there. So when it's the hero's journey or something like that, it cuts out a lot of the other parts of what that means to become a hero. So there's the good guy and the bad guy, and it doesn't really focus on the daily monotonous routine things like what the hero had for breakfast, or injuries the hero had along the way and stuff like this. It shows him as the strong point because he represents an idea, and it shows the bad guy as the antithesis of that, because that's what he's supposed to represent as well. So, books and stories are more meant as symbolism, and they focus on very specific ideas that, while they are great for teaching a lesson, that's not necessarily real life, because real life is composed of very small and what people might say is insignificant events that make up your day. And they're not insignificant, they're important, but I think since we've been raised and since we're so used to that instant gratification and that instant sense of pleasure in culture, it starts to divide fantasy and reality, or it starts to merge fantasy and reality instead of divide them, which they are. They're both very important to focus on what's real, and it's important to imagine and to have that creative, imaginative side of you. But when you start to think about fantasy and this ideological world and think that that's what real life's supposed to be, or if you think of reality as, I'm only going to look in this box, this is what's real, I'm never going to think of anything outside of what I'm comfortable with, then you're always going to be stuck in that mindset, and it's going to be hard to grow. So it takes a very healthy balance between the two of those things. And for me, being a creative person and who loves to read, and who I think I've had my brain shaped so much by like video games and that stuff over time, that I feel almost kind of like stuck in that constant state of always imagining and always wondering and always idealizing things, whereas I feel detached from reality in a lot of ways. So really what my journey from here on out is going to start being is trying to focus on reality more, a lot more mundane and earthly things. So how to cook for myself, how to be healthy, how to exercise more, which are all things I know but I don't do, and I don't really have a great foundation in those things. So it's a lot of just caring about myself enough to focus on my life and care about myself so that I can be strong enough to help care about and help others. Because I feel like if I'm always stuck in books, if I'm always in that other place, then even when I write, it's just continuing these ideas that I don't know are true or not. If I don't have a solid foundation for myself, then I feel like how I help others isn't going to be as strong as if I did have a solid foundation. So that's a lot of my thoughts on that subject and what I'm planning to do from here on out. So if you have anything you'd like to add to the discussion, please feel free to comment below. I'm going to start commenting more. Sorry, I'm trying to think of how I want to wrap this up. I'm going to start being better at, commenting back and making more videos and kind of documenting this process. And yeah, hopefully we can all help each other understand this thing called life a little bit better. All right, guys, take care. Bye.